All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone to episode 2 of Robbie and Brandon Review. Today, of course, I'm joined by my good friend Brandon, aka the Wrestling Fan 16. Brandon, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm happy to be here for episode 2. You can all follow me on Twitter at TheGamerman16. Subscribe to my channel, The Wrestling Fan 16. Follow me on Instagram _B to Jesus 1997. And I'm really excited for the topic that we have today. I'm really looking forward to it.
Definitely. Thank you again, Brandon, for joining me. Always a pleasure working with you. So this is episode 2, guys, and for today's episode, I decided we talk about one of Brandon's favorite video game franchises as a way to bounce back and really try to get this series going. We only did one episode before. That was earlier in the year. It was the WWE 2K16 retrospective. We gave our review of the game. This time we're going to look back at some memories from, like I said, one of Brandon's favorite video game franchises, and it's the Tony Hawk series. Now, Brandon, I haven't really played. I know you've played more Tony Hawk games than me, so why don't you start us off by telling us how were you first introduced to the Tony Hawk games?
Well, it was when I was a young kid. I was about maybe 3 years old or something like that. I remember my older brother, who is now 25, he had a demo disc which had demos of different games like Crash Bandicoot, Crash Team Racing, I should say. I think a Spyro game and something else. And one of them was the first Tony Hawk game, which was released in 1999. And I remember watching him playing the game, and I'm thinking, like, what are those things that guy is riding on? And sure enough, it was. He told me it was a skateboard, and I asked him if I could play it, and I did, and the rest is history. I got hooked ever since. He would then go on to get, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 and 3, and yeah, I've really been hooked ever since. It's one of my all-time favorite video game series, and also it's one of my favorite games to play multiplayer.
Demo discs. If you guys remember those back in the day, if you used to have a subscription to like a popular video game magazine, you get a demo disc playing different demos, different games. I remember when I got my PlayStation 1, it came with a demo disc, so that brings back a lot of memories. My Dreamcast came with a demo disc. But for me, I just remember my younger cousin, who's like my younger brother in a way. I love him so much. He had the game on Nintendo 64, and we would play it. And I didn't know how to play this game. We would just do the flips and everything, and I liked it. So we play it, whenever I'd spend time with him. And when I really started getting to Tony Hawk was when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 came out on the Nintendo GameCube. It's the only Tony Hawk game I've really been committed to, but I really liked what the game had to offer. It was, on, at the time, a new generation, a new gen console. Graphics looked good. The gameplay was fast and fun. So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, I loved playing horse with him and just doing the flips and everything, using cheats to get higher air, more air so we could do flips and everything. But I really became a Tony Hawk fan when I played 4. 4 was very challenging, and it was frustrating at times. But 4, I liked the variety it had. So that's how I really got into Tony Hawk.
Yeah, definitely. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 definitely had a lot of variety because keep in mind, like in the first 3 Tony Hawk games, it was pretty bare bones on what goals you had to do. You had to set up a certain score, collect skate, or knock down 5 things, or do whatever, get the secret tape. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, you did a lot more than that. You had to get combo letters for somebody. You had to ride on somebody's car in order to accomplish some goal. Nail the tricks that people yell out at you, and that's great. The diversity in that game was great, and also the fact that it was free roaming, like in the career mode. When in the first 3 Tony Hawk games, when you were set to a 2-minute time limit, now when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 came out, in career you can just kind of roam around and kind of do whatever before you can go up to people and do goals, and that's what I loved about that one. And while it's not my favorite in the series, it's definitely very fun to play.
Yeah, definitely. I liked the free roaming system in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. That's how I got to explore the different cities, collect money, collect different collect like different tapes, whatever, complete goals for people. And the variety was really fun. I remember, like, I know you asked me what was my favorite Tony Hawk game in one of my Q&As, and I said Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 because it had like different variety. You could play tennis with your skateboard. There was a mission in the in a basketball court. I remember there's even a mission where you got to sketch behind an elephant in the zoo, which is crazy because the sketching challenges are tough and the elephants shooting out crap at you. But it was just like that kind of stuff was absurd, but it was fun. And then I liked the cheats and the secret characters that were introduced in number 4, Jango Fett, because Star Wars Episode 2 came out right around that time, so that was perfect. Getting to do the jetpack and everything. There was an alien. There was another popular skater. I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
Mike Valley, and also the alien guy was Eddie. He was like he was part of a lot of Iron Maiden cover albums, like on the cover of it.
Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. And then the other character that I really liked was Daisy, who was based on the popular model Jenna Jameson. I like the fact that the chick could freaking do a handstand on her skateboard. That was really cool. And like I said, the game just had different variety. It was challenging at times. I'm not gonna lie, I got frustrated because there were certain missions I just like tried to do, and I kept getting closer and closer to finishing them, but I couldn't. But it was just like I said, that's the one Tony Hawk game I've been the most committed to. It's just a lot of fun. I still love to play horse. The different varieties in the missions and the gameplay and the different settings. Like, I know there's a carnival, which is really fun. I think San Francisco is part of it too. So, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, very good game. Definitely recommend it if you ever get a chance to play Xbox, PlayStation 2, or GameCube. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 is definitely worth your time.
Yeah, and also in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, they have Chicago, which was taken from Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX 2.
Yeah.
And also, you said that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 was the one that you were committed to. Personally, the one that I was committed to, and I still am to this very day, has got to be, there is absolutely no contest, it's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is an incredible game. I think it's the best extreme sports game of all time. I fire up my PlayStation 2 and play it just whenever because there's just so much replay value. And just going through all the goals just over and over and over again, it may get repetitive to some people, but I find it a lot of fun. As you complete the game 100% with each character, each of the original characters that are in the game, you unlock different cheats and stuff like that, and it's definitely fun to do that. And I played it so much that I can complete it 100%. And plus, the soundtrack in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is absolutely incredible, and it got me into a lot of bands that I am into today.
That's cool. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 had a nice soundtrack selection as well. I love that it had Express Yourself by NWA, My Adidas by Run DMC, TNT. A great soundtrack selection for the most part. What was your favorite part of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2?
My favorite part in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, I wouldn't necessarily say part, but I would say my favorite level would definitely have to be the School 2. The School 2 in Southern California. It's the sequel, I guess, if you will, of the School 1, which was in the first Tony Hawk game that was in Miami. This one, they take that level and just expand it in so many ways. The School 2, there's a reason why that level has been in future Tony Hawk games. It would be in Tony Hawk's Underground, and I think it would be in another one later in the series. It's just so much fun to just go around the school, just grind off of a lot of things, and go into the secret area, which would lead you to the secret tape if you're playing the career mode. And it's definitely great if you're a street skating fan, which I am, and it's definitely an experience, the School 2.
Yeah. What was Spider-Man in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3?
He was in 2. He was a secret character.
And Darth Maul?
Darth Maul was in the next-gen versions of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess what, like you were saying, another thing I liked about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 was just like certain times where you get a high jump and you can like crash through a window or something, you know, to find a secret area or whatnot. You know, because like I was saying earlier, when I first started playing these games, I would just try to do flips and like the highest score possible to win horse. But then in 4, I was learning like different tricks and whatnot. So it really challenges you to like to excel in the game or get more experience in the game. And that's what I think a good game does. It pushes you, it challenges you, and because if you do the same thing over and over again, there's not really a challenge. So I think if I had to say what my favorite part of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 was, I think my favorite level was, well, my 2 favorite levels are the Carnival, because there's one ride where it seems like you're sketching on it forever, or not sketching, but grinding it. It's so cool. And then the zoo level, because I remember one time I did a super jump over a wall and I landed in a lion or the tiger
Tiger Den.
yeah. So I just really like the levels where you do a certain trick, you can find a secret, not necessarily a secret, but you can find ways into other paths in the locations and find other hidden stuff. So those are my 2 favorite levels in 4. The zoo and the carnival. The carnival was really cool. It just was something really cool.
Yeah, and other thing I love too about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 is that they added a lot of new tricks. Like in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 on the next gen consoles, I don't know. To me, it seemed like there were very few tricks, and you couldn't really do much. Like in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, they added the spine transfer. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, that's when they introduced the revert. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is when they introduced the manuals. In the first one, you couldn't do none of that. And I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 was definitely the great equalizer because, again, they added new tricks, and then you could just do a lot more with your skateboard, and especially with manualing. I love manualing, especially as Rodney Mullen. Like, you can get into a manual, and then if you press a certain button combination, you can do another flatland trick, and you can just, if you have good bouncing, you can just do like 50 trick combos, which I've done so many times. And yeah, that's the thing I love about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. They just added so many great things to an already great series.
Definitely. So what would you say, Brandon, is your least favorite of the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games?
That's hard to say because I love them all, but if somebody pointed the gun at my head, said, "Hey, what is the worst one of the series?" I'm gonna say 3, but it's not a bad game at all. But if I was picking like which one I wanted to play first, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 would definitely not be number 1 on my list. But I would say that it's the quote unquote like worst game in the first 4, but it's still terrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my favorite, like I've said, is part 4 because I've only played that one in part 1. I can't really say which one is my least favorite because, like I said, I've only played part 4 and part 1, and the part 4 is the one I like the most. Part 1 was fun. And then they moved on to the Tony Hawk's Underground series, which I have not played any of those. So, Brandon, if you want to give us your insight onto those games, go right ahead.
Okay, I did say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 out of the original 4 is my favorite out of those, but my favorite in the entire series, we're talking like Underground, Project 8, and so on. My number 1 favorite is definitely Tony Hawk's Underground. Tony Hawk's Underground, I have it on the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, wow.
It's such an incredible game. Yeah, I have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 on PS2, GameCube, and the Game Boy. I have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 on PS2, PS1, and Game Boy. Yeah, I'm pretty diverse when it comes to that. But Tony Hawk's Underground, I love it. Like, the number 1 thing I love about Tony Hawk's Underground is the story mode. The story mode is absolutely incredible. Basically, you create yourself, and then you're in a rivalry with a really He's really a jerk, but he's one of my favorite characters in the entire series. His name is Eric Sparrow, and
Yeah.
you and him just try to compete against each other to be the best skater imaginable, and he's always screwing you over. For example, when you get to Tampa, when you try to get to the Tampa Am, the your created guy basically asks Eric to sign you up, and when he goes up to like sign his name, um, the guy who's running it says, "Hey, the list is full." And your creative guy says, "Hey, you signed us both up," and Eric's like, "Well, I signed my name," and then you have to prove yourself. You have to prove yourself to none other than Tony Hawk. And after you beat him in a goal, he tells you to show up, and that's when the competition really starts. You go from Tampa, you go to Hawaii, you go to Slam City Jam. It's really a really compelling story that I think Tony Hawk fans really need to give themselves a shot to play, definitely.
Yeah, man, you really just got me intrigued, telling me all about the story mode because it sounds like what would happen in a real life skating competition. That makes it really interesting, and that after hearing about it, I think that's a great way to take the Tony Hawk games to a new level by actually introducing a story that matters. So that's really cool. What would you say is your favorite level in Tony Hawk's Underground?
There are a lot of great levels in that game, but I'm gonna have to go with the Slam City Jam. Definitely. The Slam City Jam used to be a competition that Vans used to sponsor. It went on for like a good, I think like 15 years, and I think they stopped in 2007 or 2008. But it was at the time probably the biggest skating competition in the world.
Yeah.
Pros like Tony Hawk, pros like Rune Glifberg, Kareem Campbell. I believe Eric Costin competed in Street one time. It was a big deal, and this level definitely shows it. It's very diverse. It has a big half pipe. There's a lot of great street skating spots, and the crowd is there, and they cheer for you every time you do a cool trick. It's really a really nice looking level, and it's definitely my favorite one to play on.
Definitely. Now, I believe they tried to do a new version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, right? Like a few years ago.
Yeah, they released. I haven't played it to be honest with you, but they did release on the PS3 and Xbox 360. Like you can buy it on the network or you can buy it on Xbox Live. It was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD,
Uh-huh.
and in a nutshell, they basically repackaged a lot of the old levels from the first three Tony Hawk games, and they put in a lot of old faces in there, and they released updates like where you can do the revert and stuff like that. I haven't played it, but I would like to one of these days download it.
Yeah, because I heard it got mixed reviews, and I haven't played it myself because I'm more a fan of the original old school Tony Hawk games. But I know, like I said earlier, this is one of your favorite franchises. Um, has there been any talk of a new Tony Hawk game coming out for the next gen consoles?
Well, there was that did get released. I want to say like late. It was late 2015. It was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, but my God, the reviews were more than negative. I don't think I want to play it.
Yeah, yeah. So are there any underrated Tony Hawk games you'd recommend to any gamers?
Underrated. Let me think of the series real quick. Tony Hawk's Underground 1, Underground 2, American Wasteland, Proving Ground, Project 8. I think one that doesn't really get talked about much, and honestly, I didn't like when I was a kid, but I got it off eBay last year on my birthday, and I do think it's now a good one and kind of underrated, is Underground 2, Tony Hawk's Underground 2. There's definitely a lot of involvement with the Jackass crew, like Wee
Yeah,
Man and Bam Margera and Phil and stuff like that.
yeah,
And when I was a kid, I thought that kind of took away from things because I wasn't much of a Jackass fan. But now I've become a Jackass fan. Their involvement in this in the story mode in Underground 2 makes total sense. It was called the World Destruction Tour, and you know how crazy Bam Margera is, you know how crazy Wee Man is, and they're
yeah.
just going around doing stupid stuff, and it's actually pretty fun. And plus, Eric Sparrow makes an appearance in this story mode, which I went crazy for.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Um, Yeah, like I said, guys, I have not played a lot of Tony Hawk games, so I really appreciate having Brandon here because he's more of the Tony Hawk expert. He could tell you a lot about the good, the bad, the what the hell of the Tony Hawk series. But this is something we did want to do in hopes of relaunching and rebranding our series because the Tony Hawk games were some of my favorites to play growing up. One mainly, to do a horse and do all the tricks. 4 because I got it as a Christmas present and I was so engaged in it. I like the characters, the cheats. My favorite cheat I marked out when I found out this cheat was going to be available was the hoverboard, where basically you have no wheels on your skateboard, just like if it's in Back to the Future. But looking back, I wish like when you do that cheat, you actually got to be on a hoverboard, like the one from like Marty's from Back to the Future, the pink one, or Griff Tannen's Pitbull. Just a little, just a little nitpicking. That would have been cool, but still to do the whole hoverboard cheat was a lot of fun. And then like Jango Fett, I think has one of the best special moves in the game. The fact that you can like fly with a jetpack and get higher and higher to increase your score. And of course, like I said, the Daisy character was one of my favorites because it was based off a real fashion model, and the character was really cool just to see a girl, an American girl like her, do the tricks that she did. Like the whole handstand thing was crazy. So overall, Brandon, if you were to do a Mount Rushmore of Tony Hawk games, like the 4 best, which would you put on there?
That's a great question, Robbie. I was kind of thinking about this too. Definitely Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Yeah.
I would put Tony Hawk's Underground, the first one. I would put Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. I didn't really talk about this yet. Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, I remember playing that a lot when I was younger, and then I got it to keep. I actually bought it in 2013 for like $8 at a used game store, and it's definitely a really good story. Basically, you are going around to different parts of California, and you are collecting parts for something called a skate ranch. You're building your own skate park, basically, and once it's all done, it looks absolutely incredible. And that was definitely fun to go around each level and to try to put this skate ranch thing together. And although the characters, I think Tony Hawk's American Wasteland has the best characters out of any Tony Hawk game because it had the great legend Tony Alva. It had Day One Song, legend in Flatline, along with Rodney Mullen. It had Tony Trujillo. It had Mike V. It had Stevie Williams. And the secret characters, you had 1970s Tony Alva, 1980s Tony Hawk, Billy Joe Armstrong from the lead singer of Green Day, Little John. It was a really nice selection of secret characters, I gotta say. Yeah. And I would definitely put that one third. And fourth, I would put Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, mainly because of the nostalgic factor. It was the first one in the series, and even though it doesn't have the manual, it doesn't have spine transfers, doesn't have reverse, it doesn't matter because even to this day, 17 years later, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is still, I think, one of the greatest games of all time. So that's my Mount Rushmore.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. You brought up something interesting in Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. You're going around collecting parks for the skate ranch. I know some Tony Hawk games had the create a park mode. Which game would you say, Brandon, had the best create a park mode?
I'll be honest, like nowadays I don't play around with creative parks, but back then I used to be all over that. But I would definitely say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. It was the first one to introduce the Create a Park feature, and to this day, I still think it's the best. Probably Tony Hawk's Underground would be second, but it's definitely the best. And your imagination can run forever with that thing. You can either spend hours creating a park, or you could spend seconds creating something really crappy. But I think if you take the time and if you take the patience to make something that you really want, it's going to be something to definitely to play on if you're playing with other people.
Yeah, definitely. It reminds me of the create an arena mode in 2K14, 15, and 16, and we'll probably get it in WWE 2K17. When playing this against friends, have you ever played on their created parks? Remember the game?
Never, never. We usually just play on the pre-made parks, but if I mean, next time, I'll probably ask like, "Hey, did you create a park? Let's play on that." Or if not, that's fine because the levels that are in the game in each Tony Hawk game are just fantastic. I could create a Mount Rushmore of my favorite Tony Hawk levels.
You go ahead.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I would put the school two in Pro Skater 2, definitely. I would put Slam City Jam in Tony Hawk's Underground. I would put. Let me think about this for a minute. Um, I would maybe put the airport in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. That's actually a really fun level to be in. And I would put. Let me think of something from 4. I would put the. I would put I put Alcatraz in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. That would
Oh,
be my Mount Rushmore right now, but it may change in the future, but we'll see what happens. But that's what I would think about right now if I had my Mount Rushmore of Tony Hawk levels.
yeah, you know what? Alcatraz was another level I liked. I think that had the baseball level, right? The little mini game where if you hit a certain amount of home runs. Yeah. See, that's what we're talking about, guys. Like the Tony Hawk games were very unique with the diverse gameplay they offered. From the first one to the second one, introducing Creative Park. Number 4, I love the mini games. I'm trying to remember if there was a basketball mini game, something where you had to like hit the ball into the hoop with your skateboard. Do you remember that, Brandon? Was there a mini game similar to it?
No, it was only the tennis mini game. Like there would be a tennis court, and then there was a basketball court next to it in the college level. It was only the tennis one, which I can never do. That one is hard.
I actually got. It took me a while, but I finally beat that tennis mini game. You would think it'd be easy, but you have to be like really fast against the guy you're going up against. So, um, yeah, that's most likely my favorite mini game from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Like I said, favorite two guest characters were Jango Fett and Daisy. Favorite cheat was hoverboard because it was like Back to the Future. Who doesn't love Back to the Future? And two favorite levels would definitely be the zoo and the carnival. But Alcatraz was definitely a really cool level. San Francisco was a fun level because of course I'm from San Francisco. Seeing Pier 39 recreated with the sea lions and everything. It's very nostalgic because, of course, like I said, I grew up in that area. So what would you most remember, Brandon, the Tony Hawk games for?
Um, because back in the day and even now, we have our Maddens, we have our NBA 2Ks, we have our MLB The Shows, and back then we still had those. We still had our quintessential football games. We still had our baseball games and stuff like that. The thing I'm going to remember about the Tony Hawk series the most is that it was different. It was a different kind of sport that, in my opinion, really didn't get big on the competitive level until like the 90s. And this game, the Tony Hawk series, it really put extreme sports games on the map because afterward you would see like Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX, Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX, Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, and stuff like that. Yeah, sure, they are Tony Hawk knockoffs, but they're still fun in their own way. And I feel that gaming companies and a lot of these extreme sports stars, they have to give Tony Hawk a lot of credit because he went out there and created a game based on skateboarding, and it's really one of the biggest successes in gaming history because it was different. It was different from all the other sports games that we've been used to playing, and I got to thank him for that. And they're still fun to play today, and it's such a great gaming achievement, I would say, in history.
Definitely. You mentioned Dave Mirra. I just got to say real quick, rest in peace, Dave Mirra. I can't believe he
Hmm.
died like not too long ago. That was crazy. But yeah, I wanted to ask you, there are other skating games and games in that Tony Hawk style that came out following Pro Skater, like the Matt Hoffmans and the Kelly Slaters. And you were talking about it, they're fun games. Did any of them stand out to you the most, or do you feel like they just can't live up to the caliber, the bar that the Tony Hawk game set?
I thought some of them were fun. I think Dave Mirra's Freestyle BMX 2 on the PlayStation 2 was pretty fun. The first Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX, definitely a great game. Between that and Dave Mirra, I'm going with the Matt Hoffman series. Let's see. I had Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, but it doesn't work anymore. But I remember that one being okay, and it had a demo for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 in there. Just a fun fact.
Yeah.
Let's see. I know there was a I think it was Sean Palmer's Snowboarding, which I've never played before. And then it also set the tone too, I think, for like, even though this has nothing to do with Extreme Sports Stars, but like the ATV off-road games, that's another extreme sport, and those games are fun. But while they are fun, I think will never set the benchmark that Tony Hawk did with the game series and what the series has to offer. Tony Hawk Pro Skater will forever remain the greatest extreme sports series of all time, bar none.
Definitely. And last thing I want to ask you, Brandon, regarding Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is, if they were to come out with a new game, what features would you like to see, or what levels or guest characters? Like, if a new Tony Hawk game came out, what would you like to see the most in it?
Let's see. I would like to see more retro levels come back. Like, I know new levels were added in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, but I want to see like more old levels return. I'd like to see old skaters return, like Chad Muska and Eric Costin, Kareem Campbell, those guys. Let's see, guest characters. I mean, you can pretty much throw anybody as a guest character, really, and I think people will recognize them. I think probably my favorite guest character in the entire series was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, to just do it. They can just do whatever they want with the guest characters. I really don't care. But the one thing though that I want to see, this has nothing to do with making a new Tony Hawk game, re-release them on the PlayStation Network or Xbox Live. I think that will sell a lot of downloads if you release the first 4 games again on like a PlayStation Network or an Xbox Live. That'd be awesome.
Definitely. And, being that we are wrestling fans, if they did a new Tony Hawk game and 1 or 2 wrestlers were introduced as guest characters from either WWE or NXT, who would you want to see?
That's a good question. I think it would be kind of cool if they had AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And I think if you wanted to put a woman in there, I would put either Lita or I would put either Lita or Paige, to be honest with you.
Not bad. I would have said Bailey or Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks, or hell, if they do this, give us a 4 Horsewomen DLC for the Tony Hawk game, like we were talking about for WWE 2K17. Give us the 4 Horsewomen showcase mode, which they're not doing showcase mode, but if they were to do any wrestlers, maybe do like Demon Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and the 4 Horsewomen as a pack. Like, that'd be perfect.
That would be fun too. And I didn't really delve in too much about the soundtracks. The Tony Hawk 1 soundtrack was pretty good. It had Dead Kennedys, it had Goldfinger, it had Suicidal Tendencies, it had others. I can't remember them right now. But Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, it was amazing. It had Bad Religion, it had Rage Against the Machine, it had Naughty by Nature, it had let's see, it had Papa Roach, it had Millencolin, it had let's see, Dub Pistols. It was amazing, and that soundtrack alone got me into a lot of the bands. Like, it got me into Bad Religion, it got me into Naughty by Nature, it got me into Papa Roach. So I got to thank Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for that.
Definitely, yeah. That's like with 2K, WWE 2K16. That soundtrack was stellar. I mean, a lot of the songs on that soundtrack I listen to now, whether it's Youth Gone Wild, Hello World, Till It's Gone, that soundtrack was just on point. The new soundtrack coming out that Diddy worked on for 2K7. Yeah. I like that it has Bad Boy for Life. I think that's cool that he picked that song. some of these other songs I've never heard of, so we'll see what happens. But we'll talk about 2K17 in a future video. Like most likely, we'll do a preview video, and then if we get the game, we'll review it together like we did 2K16. But yeah, Brandon, is there anything else you want to say about your Tony Hawk memories? You know, anything we haven't mentioned up to now?
Yeah. I when you asked me about like which wrestlers you think should be in like a future Tony Hawk game, I made my choices off of which superstars that I think look more like they look like a skater. I think Lita does look like a skater. I think
Oh yeah.
Paige looks like a skater. I think AJ Styles looks like a skater. Even Finn Balor. I liked your Finn Balor idea.
Well, it has to be the demon though, because the demon is you know, the demon's awesome. That's what we most associate him with. So yeah, I mean, if they do a new Tony Hawk game with some wrestlers as guest characters, that'd be great. And if they do a new Tony Hawk game in general, I definitely would. I'd check it out, depending, you know, based on what it has to offer. So with that said, guys, that'll wrap it up for our Tony Hawk memories. But we're not done yet, because we do have a special segment that Brandon has been really looking forward to. Last week, a day before my birthday, he got, or I think on my birthday, he got to go to Wizard World Chicago, and he got to meet the one person he had been dying to meet for a while. Brandon, go ahead and tell us your experience at Wizard World Chicago.
Wow. Well, first of all, I was there Friday and Saturday. I was volunteering, actually. My mom and I were giving out programs and stuff like that, which was fun. We told the guy, hey, you know, I got a photo op coming up at 2:30, so we got to leave like to do that. But my mom and I, we snuck into the Q&A. We snuck into the Q&A, which was a lot of fun. Like we all sat down, and then the guy who was running it said, "Are you guys ready to see Becky Lynch?" Blah blah blah. And then she played her music, and I was just going crazy in my seat. I'm like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm going to meet Becky Lynch, right? I'm going to see Becky Lynch right here, right now." And then she came out through the curtain, and I just went nuts. It was just I'm seeing my favorite superstar live and in person. She's right in front of my face. It was just an incredible experience. And, you know, she went on to answer fan questions. I was actually going to go up there to ask a question. You know, I got in line, but then the person said, oh, well, the Q&A is over. She's going to go up to her photo ops. So sure enough, I went upstairs to get the photo ops. I had my ticket ready, and I'm just like, just jubilant. I'm just in just so much. I'm just in so much excitement. I can't even describe it right now. It was an
Yeah.
incredible experience. Like, and then the lady lets everybody into the line, and you know, I'm waiting. I'm kind of nervous because you know I'm going up to meet my favorite superstar right now, just to give her to give her a hug and stuff like that. And the
Yeah.
line moved actually pretty quickly. They first let the VIPs go, and it was just really efficient, and I was happy about that. And when my turn was coming up, like probably like one or two people before me, I'm just like, oh my god, she is right there. She is
Yeah.
right freaking there. And then after the person before me, after he was done, I went up and I was like, oh my god. I was like, hi, hello, how are you? And then I gave her a big hug, and I said, hey, this is a dream come true right now. And then her and I laughed for like a second. She took the picture, and then afterward, I said, one more thing. I took out of my back pocket. I gave her a letter
Right.
that I've been writing, I worked on for a while now, and then I got my picture. I went out, like when I gave her my letter, she said, "Oh my god, thank you so very much!" And in her amazing freaking Irish accent, I think her accent is so sexy. And then I went out, and I was just in joy. I was just like, yes, I got a picture. Oh my god! And
Yeah.
then I got the picture, and I was just on cloud nine. The picture
Yeah.
looked absolutely amazing. You can look at it; it's all over my social media, and oh man, it was definitely a day that I will never ever forget. It was beautiful.
That is awesome. Yeah, definitely, guys. I seen the picture. The photo op came out great. Like I said, you can check out Brandon's Twitter. The link is in my description box, as well as the link, excuse me, to his YouTube channel. So please go out and support him, and you can see his picture with Becky Lynch. Did you get to walk around the rest of the convention? I know you were volunteering, but did you get to check out any more of the convention, or it was mainly meeting Becky Lynch?
I did get to walk around a little bit. I walked around the gaming hall. Like they just had so much going on. Smash Brothers tournaments. They had Street Fighter tournaments going on. It was pretty crazy. And then I went downstairs, and of course they were selling comics and stuff. I got to see so many great costumes out there. So many people were playing Pokemon Go. They let's see. They were selling a lot of cool things. They were also selling too WWE art done by Rob Scharnberger, which I
Yeah.
looked at some of that and it was pretty cool. And yeah, for my first Wizard World, it was definitely an enjoyable experience, and I'm definitely looking forward to going back there again next year.
You know, one thing I gotta give you guys a ton of kudos for is the fact that your Comic Con had like this stacked list of guests, and I'm not just talking WWE like Cena, Ambrose, the Bellas, Becky, Bailey, who replaced Sasha Banks, which that's a little bit of a bummer because who wouldn't want to meet Sasha? But then again, I mean, who wouldn't want to meet Bailey? Bailey's awesome, no knock on her at all. But I looked at your guest list, man, and I was jealous because it's like you had the 6 main stars of Daredevil on Netflix. I would have loved to have met all 6 of them. You had Ralph Macchio. You had Jason David Frank. You had the cast of the X-Files. It's like, I was like, damn, man, you have so many. You had the Back to the Future cast. I was like, you guys got the best freaking Wizard World Comic Con because of just that celebrity guest list alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then Norman Reedus from Walking Dead was there too. It was definitely a very stacked lineup, and it was great. I would have loved to meet more people. Would have loved to meet John Cena or the Bella Twins or whatever. But I met Becky Lynch, and even afterward, my mom said, "Oh, do you want to go see Dean Ambrose's Q&A?" I'm like, "No, I'm just so happy right now. Let's just go. I got my photo. It looks amazing. She
Yeah.
hasn't favored it or retweeted it or anything, but I might share it with her again at some point. But it was incredible."
Definitely. But the one thing, man, is like if you want to meet all those other people, it's gonna cost you. So I mean, if me and Becky Lynch was all that mattered to you, then that's awesome. I am happy for you that you got to meet her. I have been to a Wizard World myself. I got to meet Paige. Great experience. One of the best experiences I had meeting a wrestler because of the autograph, the photo op, and the Q&A. Just real cool, real nice person. Sucks she got suspended, but meeting Paige, it's like when you met Becky Lynch. One of the best experiences I've had meeting a wrestler. Would love to do another Wizard World, especially if any wrestlers come like AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Sasha Banks. What's that one person's name from NXT? I would say
Bobby Roode.
that'd be glorious. I would say Asuka, but I don't know like her. I know she speaks some English, but I don't know if her English is like that good. But yeah, like I was saying, man, I'm really happy for you that you got to meet Becky Lynch. The photo op turned out great, and I met Paige. She signed my Elite figure, which isn't on camera right now, but the autograph looks great. Um, yeah, is there anything else? I guess I could ask also, like, was there anything else that stood out at Wizard World or like costume wise, cosplay, video games?
I saw a lot of Link costumes. I saw a couple Power Ranger costumes. I saw what else did I see? I saw some Fire Emblem costumes, some Mario and Luigi. There was even a trio of girls that had a Princess Daisy costume, a Princess Peach costume, and a Rosalina costume on. That looked amazing. And I saw a few Street Fighter ones. I saw a Ryu, a Ken, and a Guile, which looked fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Well, that's the beauty right there of any kind of Comic Con, especially Wizard World. Just like seeing everybody come out in costume, all the different booths, vendors, and whatnot. Did you get a chance to walk by Jason David Frank's booth?
I didn't, to be honest with you. But I would have loved to meet the Green Ranger. Definitely. I know my brother would. My older brother, when he was a kid, biggest Power Ranger fan you'll ever meet. But I would have loved to meet JDF, and I didn't get to, but maybe next year we'll see what happens. But I would definitely love to meet him.
Yeah, I met him at the same Wizard World where I met Paige. Jason Dave Frank is one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. He's very humble. He's very thankful. He's very grateful for everybody that comes out to meet him. So he's definitely worth your time. You just gotta know in advance. You will wait a while because I waited about an hour to meet him. But it's definitely worth the wait. And I know exactly how you felt before going up to meet Becky, because when I went to Access and I went to WrestleCon and I went to meet Paige, like that feeling of, oh my God, I'm going to meet this person, that person. It's like you get a little nervous, but like it's exciting. And in the end, you have a positive experience. It's all worth it. So definitely, again, definitely happy that everything went well, that you had a great time over there. I have a couple friends who were there. One of them met Seth Rollins and Bailey. The other one just met Seth. And one of them was at the Seth Q&A. So I think it's really cool how, like, because all these guys are on YouTube. One made the trip to Chicago. The other two live there. So I think it's cool just to see the videos, even though I can't be there live. It was cool to see. And all you guys getting to meet who you got to meet. You met Becky. My friend Kevin met Seth and Bailey. My friend Brandon met Seth. So that's just really cool. Like I said, had the honor of meeting Paige at Wizard World, and she was really cool. I guess to keep the wrestling chat going before we go off the air real quick, because we were talking about Becky Lynch, I really feel like either she or Alexa Bliss need to win that SmackDown Women's Championship at Backlash.
I feel the same way. Becky, she's gotten close time and time again. And, I felt when they first announced this brand split, one of the biggest beneficiaries of this, other than AJ Styles, would be Becky Lynch. And it's time. I think other than, say, Nikki Bella or Alexa Bliss, I think she's the best woman that they have. She's deserved a run with the championship for so long now. And with 2 titles, with the brand split, it's time. It's time for her to finally become a champion in WWE. She's been so deserving of it, and if she wins, man, I will go crazy. I hope she wins it at Backlash.
Honestly, of the 6 in that 6-pack challenge, I think Becky is definitely the most deserving. Last year, the match she had with Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver Unstoppable, I was rooting for her, and she really had that coming out party, that breakout moment. And I feel like she is the dark horse of the women's division in WWE in general. You got Sasha, you got Charlotte, you got Bailey. They're the top 3 on Raw. They're 3 of the best women's wrestlers. But you have Becky, who is a great women's wrestler, and I feel like she just has not gotten that. She's been in 2 high-profile women's title matches earlier this year, of course, Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. But like, I feel this is the time to really pull the trigger on Becky and establish her as the new the new top female on SmackDown's women's division, because I don't think Natalya needs it. I love Natty, but I don't think she needs it. Carmella is still establishing herself.
She's still green.
Yeah. Nikki Bella's held the belt. Well, it was Divas title, but yeah, I don't think Nikki really needs it. And Naomi is, I feel, underrated, but I really feel like now the time is right to give Becky Lynch that chance to lead SmackDown's women's division into 2017. So hashtag give Becky the belt, hashtag give Becky a chance. If they give it to Alexa Bliss and it's a good lengthy feud between her and Becky, where Becky finally wins the belt in satisfying fashion, I'll be totally fine with that, because I think Alexa Bliss also could be a big charge in the SmackDown Women's division. I really like Alexa, and I feel like she's also underrated.
I definitely agree with you. I felt that she's improved so much ever since her time at NXT. Yeah. She's been in a lot of good matches that down there, and when she got called up, I could not be more happy for her. And I think she'll go on to do big things. You know, she's still young. All those divas or not divas. All those superstars are still young, and I think they're all very hungry and they want to be the best. And I think SmackDown's women's division is very, very fun to watch, and I think SmackDown overall is the better show than Raw is.
Yeah, SmackDown shows are so easy to sit through for 2 hours. Even if it's not a great show, you'll still get a good, solid show that you can watch. I do like how they're progressing certain feuds. I just wish if I could make one change to the rosters, I would put Eva Marie on Raw because she's all red everything, not all blue everything. And I put Paige on SmackDown where she could be a good workhorse because I like that SmackDown has workhorses, but I also want SmackDown to have that young, fresh talent that wouldn't get the big break they deserve on Raw. And, of course, if switching gears to the men, I would really want Cesaro on SmackDown where he could do big things with an AJ Styles, a Dean Ambrose, a John Cena, Randy Orton. And I'm fine with Sami Zayn on Raw, but I think I prefer Kevin Owens on SmackDown. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you 100%. I feel that you have to keep Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens apart for now. But, this is the new – I think this is the modern-day John Cena, Randy Orton, but I can actually tolerate it this time. But you have to keep them apart, and I do feel you should put Kevin Owens on SmackDown, and there have been rumors about possibly making a trade. Trade Kevin Owens and Cesaro over to SmackDown, and I feel that Kevin Owens could have amazing matches with AJ Styles and Cesaro, and again, have good matches feuding over the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, definitely. And I heard those same rumors that they were going to trade Randy Orton to Raw, which, based on what happened at SummerSlam, if they do trade him to Raw, I'm fine with that because that'll keep his feud with Brock Lesnar going. I know you're going to most likely you'll most likely do a SummerSlam review, but I just want to ask you, Brandon, what were your thoughts on the ending of Brock and Orton?
I don't know, man. I thought it was good I thought it was good in the sense to keep the Brock Lesnar character strong, but I kind of wish they had a more definitive finish because if you remember the previous match, Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns and Rusev, that didn't even get started. They just had a brawl and all that. And here in the Brock Orton match, you essentially kind of have a non-finish here too, and it was a good match, but it just left a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, because when he hit Orton with the elbow, I saw it and I was like, he hit him with a legit elbow, and I saw Randy Orton cover up. I was like, I think he busted Orton open, and then I see this pool of blood start to form, and I'm thinking, yeah, he legit busted him open. And I don't know, there was something about that ending that made it feel real, like that was supposed to happen. But then I'm reading these reports that Randy Orton knew how the finish was, knew that was the planned finish. So do you think that was the planned finish, Brandon, or you think that just came out of nowhere and that was totally not planned?
Well, whenever Brock Lesnar takes his gloves off, that stuff is going to go down. And, when he went down there and elbowed Orton, I don't know, man. I think it did end up being the planned finish. They want to establish Brock Lesnar as an unstoppable powerhouse, and there are rumors that he might be going after the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. So you want to keep that part of the character strong. And there were rumors too, about the supposed backstage fight with Brock Lesnar and Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho was arguing with Michael Hayes about Michael not knowing what the finish really was, and Chris Jericho called him out on it. And but yeah, I think the finish, I think it was planned.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Randy Orton for taking that blow to the head, because that was you can't blade that, man. That was a legit scar on his forehead. That laceration was legit. It's just like when the show ended, I was sitting there like, that's how it ends. I was just like kind of not baffled, but I was just like, what just went down? Like, because it felt real. It felt like scary, legit real. You know what I mean? So if we get a rematch between these guys at WrestleMania 32, I want it to be a no-holds-barred match, or maybe Hell in a Cell. Because I said this going into the show, it should be a no-holds-barred match where they can just beat the hell out of each other. It could just be a wild fight. And it was a good wild fight for what it was. Orton getting thrown through the SmackDown table and then him RKOing Brock on the Raw table. But then the ending came. So who knows? We may get Shane McMahon versus Brock Lesnar before the end of the year or at Royal. Well, you said he's probably going to go for the title at Royal Rumble, so maybe WrestleMania. Who knows? It does leave for some interesting possibilities, but that's an ending that's going to go down in SummerSlam infamy. Whether it was planned or not, that was just seeing it. It just felt kind of eerie, but we'll see where things go from there. One more thing I want to ask you about, Brandon, because I may do a completely separate video from this, is what was your reaction when they revealed the Universal Championship?
Oh my God! It looked, yeah. It was. It's called the Universal Championship, but it was universally hated, including me. It looked horrendous. It looked absolutely god awful. And yes, the crowd was totally obnoxious throughout the Seth Rollins Finn Balor match because I thought that those two guys, they had a really good match. I was going to give it 4 stars, but I had to duck it down to 3 3/4 because of the obnoxious crowd. They couldn't stop chanting, "This belt sucks, this belt sucks." It's like, we all know that. We all know the belt is terrible, but you can't be chanting that like throughout the entire match again. Featuring 2 amazing wrestlers. It really was very distracting.
Yeah. In my review, I said I personally wasn't bothered by the I heard him chant something, but I couldn't tell what it was. But I personally wasn't bothered by the chants because I was looking forward to seeing Seth and Finn go at it because this is a dream match. Who would have ever thought we'd see it this year as soon as we did? But yeah, I mean, like, I totally understand where Mick Foley and Seth Rollins are coming from. I respect their opinions. I respect them as performers. But honestly, it's just like that belt left a bad taste in a bunch of our mouths. It's like you took the time and effort to give us a new set, which I really liked. I really liked that they went out to give us something different. It wasn't the Raw set. It had a Barclay Center feel to it, if that makes sense. And then you introduce the Universal Championship, which is basically the WWE World Heavyweight Championship spray painted with a red strap, or as my friend called it, the fruit roll-up championship, because it looked like a strawberry fruit roll-up.
Oh, absolutely. I made another joke about that, but I'm not going to share it on here. It's kind of inappropriate, but yeah, I hated the Universal. I hate the Universal Championship, and but if it's Raw's world title, I'm not. If I were on, if I were on SmackDown, I'd be happy right now because I would not want to get anywhere near that title.
Yeah, I agree. Like, think back to the original brand split when the belts were different. They were unique. They gave each brand a separate identity. I just hate that. Like, okay, I'll let the tag team championships on SmackDown pass because I actually like that I like the color scheme of the blue strap with the silver medal. I like that because it doesn't look like a chocolate covered coin you get for Easter like the Raw belts look like. But for the SmackDown belt, I was like, yep, it's the same damn belt as the women's. It just has a blue background. It's like, I just want fresher looks, more unique looks on Raw and SmackDown, and the belts too, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens, but I will give SmackDown credit, even though the SmackDown titles are the Raw titles with a different color scheme. That color scheme makes it more acceptable and more credible, you know what I'm saying? I like how those tag team titles look on SmackDown.
I agree, definitely. And plus the women's championship. I really am a big fan of the blue background behind it. I think the women's championship looks stunning.
I mean, it's not a horrible belt, but I just wanted something different. Not that butterfly tin on a strap. Do not bring back that Divas Championship. But you know you've got a problem when even the Divas Championship is better than the freaking Universal Championship. Am I right?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. Well, without any further ado, it's almost 5 o'clock. We're going to end it right here because NXT, of course, and the Cruiserweight Classic are coming up soon. But I want to thank everybody for watching and listening to episode 2 of Robbie and Brandon Review. Brandon, of course, I got to give you many props and thank you, as always, for joining me.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, of course. Go ahead and promote your channel once more.
Yes, subscribe to me on YouTube, The Wrestling Fan 16. Follow me on Twitter at TheGamerman16. Follow me on Instagram _BDeJesus 1997. Follow me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are all my social media platforms, and I definitely had a great time doing this second episode, Robbie, and I look forward to more with you in the future, man.
Definitely. We're definitely going to be talking about new games, retro games. That'll lead to the Robbie and Brandon retro review. That'll be like a spin-off of this series, but they'll all be under the same category. Definitely, there are so many games that we like, from Pokemon, Smash Brothers, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, beat 'em ups like Ninja Turtles and The Simpsons, that we could do tons of. We could do tons of episodes. There's tons of possibility for content. So we just hope that you guys enjoy the content and continue to support us. Please go out and support Brandon. Check him out on social media. And, of course, you know where to find me. My information is down below in the description box. Thanks, as always, for watching and listening, guys. You know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, especially those who are hardcore gamers. And until then, guys, this is Robbie and Brandon signing off. We will see you later. Have a good day.
Peace.